Welcome Sportsbet Daily at oddsmarket.com. UFC Fight Night 163 is in Moscow this weekend, and I can't do UFC without having, well, I was going to say Batman and Robin, but I don't know which one would be Batman and which one would be Robin. Dave at Dave Betts and at Sports Keg CEO Jace. How are we, gentlemen?
What's up, buddy?
Yep, I'm all good.
Brother.
I'm all good. You good, Dave?
Yes, mate. I think I'll take the place of Robin because I'm used to robbing the bookies every week, if you know what I'm saying.
Nice. No, and obviously we've got Batman because he's up in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. And New York's reminiscent of Gotham City as well, so let's roll with that.
Okay, let's go. Let's kick it off. Let's not mess about. Roosevelt Roberts versus Alexander Yakovlev. We'll start with you then, Dave.
Yes, sir. We have the green up-and-comer, Roosevelt Roberts. He came through the regional scene undefeated. He made an appearance in UFC's rival organization, Bellator. Almost instantly after that, he was snatched up by the UFC when they're holding their contest Dana White Contender Series. He came on, impressed Dana White, got himself a contract. He's done well in the UFC, came up short against Vince Pichel in his last fight. Now he's facing an aging Russian in Russia. He took the fight on short notice, 16 days, which is a rough one. But I think this is all Roberts. This is all Roberts for me. I see a lot of decision victories on this Russian card, and this is maybe a risk in some people's eyes, but there's a lot of Russians that I'm going to be fading this weekend. The bookmakers love to pile the money, pile the price on the Russians, which in some cases is justifiable, but a lot of these guys are unproven. Yakovlev, he's been in the UFC for quite a while, but we just haven't seen enough of him. He's aging now. He's 35 years old. He got tapped out by Zach Cummins. It's not an impressive run for the guy. I see a striking battle here. I think Yakovlev think he'll be able to box with Roberts. Be very surprised. Roberts will outbox him, and that's going to be my Sonoja player of the week. 1.5 units on that bad boy.
Are you in a bit of a rush, Dave, or what? Can you not
Yeah,
slow down a little bit?
Someone wants to finish work quick, so I'm just trying to get my stuff out as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Throw me straight under the bus. There's someone that normally he likes to chuck in under the bus. Jace, do you agree with all of that?
Yeah, there's really not much to add there. The only thing that slightly concerns me is, like Dave said, he's taking the fight on 16 days notice, which, you know, ordinarily is really not good for an MMA fighter. But yeah, I agree. I mean, is it a little concerning going against a Russian in Moscow? Yes, it is. But at that price, I think Dave's dead on the money. So yeah, I'm with him. Okay,
just like a yes or no answer for this one. He's minus 156 at the moment. Is there a chance that a Russian fighting in Russia is actually going to find a weight of money coming for him, and we might get a better price about Roberts, Dave?
By fight night, there's a chance you might. It's not going to be huge. Maybe a 10-point difference. I don't see it being huge because Yakovlev is aging and his current form's not impressive. And
Okay,
he's fighting an up-and-comer.
So it'll be the heart money rather than the head money going on Yakovlev.
Yes,
okay, let's move on then. Tony Martin plus 140 against Ramazan Imev.
Ramazan Imev versus Anthony Rocco-Martin. This fight should be a pick-on. You're going to be able to check these breakdowns in full on oddsmarket.com. This is Dogs in the Odds top play this week. Well, the first play of Dogs in the Odds this week is going to be Anthony Martin. It's going to be a prize play for me. Anthony Rocco-Martin has been real impressive of late, up until he came against Damian Maia, who's one of the best. We go over Damian Maia. We went over Damian Maia. He's one of the best grapplers there is. We cashed him the other week, and Anthony Rocco-Martin has come up short against him and him only in recent times. These odds are being stacked in favor of the Russian again. I like Anthony Rocco-Martin's chances here against the grapplers in Russia. He's got good grappling defensive and offensive skills under his belt. It's one of the toughest, probably one of the toughest cards to make a prediction on this fight, and that's why we have to go with the odds. Plus 140, 2.40 on the decimal. It's a ballsy move to lay these type of things with these Russians fighting in Russia. But as I mentioned in my article, scared money doesn't make money, and I love underdogs. I love plus money, especially when you get these fights where it's just not justifiable to give someone such a heavy lean. Rocco-Martin for me in this one.
Just in general, Jay, the Russians, is their expertise mainly on the ground?
Oh yeah, they wrestle bears, Flash, like literally bears from like young children. They are wrestling and grappling machines. All these Russian kids that are coming into the UFC right now. That's the best base to have in the UFC, a wrestling background. If you can grapple, you're already ahead of the game as a mixed martial artist. But yeah, as far as this country in particular, grappling and wrestling machines. Yeah, the striking comes secondary.
Dave, you've liked your Tony Martin at plus 140. You've gone for Pani Kanazad against Jessica Rose Clark to win by decision at plus 140.
Yeah, cheating again. I'm cheating. This is more of a dog and a prop because this is me taking a fight out to win by decision. Basically, this fight, we saw this fight 4 years ago. Jessica Rose Clark has maybe improved slightly on her striking output. Other than that, it's not much difference. We're probably going to see the exact same outcome. The fight's going to play out, I feel, exactly the same as it did before. Unanimous decision in favor of Pani. She's just going to be better on the feet. I don't think we can take her former fight against Julia Avila too much into consideration. Like, Julia's a big grappling presence, and that's the only type of person that's probably going to beat Pani. Pani's been unfortunate in her UFC venture so far, but I think she can pull it back round now against Jessica Rose Clark. And this one, these female fights, the majority of them have decision written all over it. Don't see either girl getting a finish. It's got to be Pani by decision for me, especially at this plus money. Yeah, no improvement in Jessica's skill set since the last fight. So I have to take Pani here because we've already saw this fight once over.
Okay, well, you said about you cheating. Well, I'm going to cheat now. You don't think I'm pronouncing this name in a month of Sundays. Jace, Zabit versus Kattar.
Magomedsharipov.
Yeah, flat. The main event should be one-sided in my opinion. Zabit Magomedsharipov, he's going to fight for the 145-pound strap soon, I think.
Whoa! I want to hear that again. Was that a one-off? Was that? I want to hear that again because that was too good.
It's
Zabit Magomedsharipov.
Nice.
That's his name.
There's about 4 people there you named.
He's going to fight for the 145-pound strap at some point. He's just too gifted. He's great everywhere. He's one of the best wrestling and submission games in the division, if not the best. And what gets lost in his grappling is how good a striker he is, man. He doesn't have flashy footwork. And sometimes I think he takes unnecessary risks on the feet that he really doesn't need to. But if he stops going for the highlight reel knockout and just plays his game, he should reach the pinnacle of this division. Both his striking and counter-striking game, very technically sound. Whether he's walking forward and pressuring his opponent or if he's on his back foot and working his counter game, they're both excellent. His hand and leg speed are okay, not great, but he's deadly accurate. And while he doesn't look like he has power because of his skinny frame, he has more than enough power to put somebody out. His wrestling and grappling game, world class. Nobody that has fought him in the cage has stopped him from taking them down. That's what happens, like we were just talking about, when you're from Dagestan and you've been wrestling bears since you were a child. You know, in addition to that, he's got a killer wrestling and submission game, rock solid. On the other side of the cage, Calvin Kattar, he's a very fundamentally sound kickboxer. He uses his range really well. He can beat you on the feet in a couple of ways. He has the power to put anybody down with a punch in that division, but he can also outpoint you every round and beat you with death by 1,000 cuts. He's got great footwork, patient, technically sound. That's what comes to mind when I think about this kid. In addition to that, his takedown defense in the octagon is 80% against him, which is phenomenal. So who wins the fight? Listen, to me, man, it's not even close. Do I respect Calvin Kattar as a mixed martial artist? Yes, I do. The problem is he is fighting what I believe is a generational talent in this division. We've seen few featherweights since I've been a fan of this sport that has the combination of skills in the octagon, an incredible wrestler with a 6 submission game, and an equally impressive stand-up game. There are levels to this game, and Zabit Magomedsharipov should be a couple levels above Calvin Kattar. The kid's got great takedown defense. Here's his problem. He absorbs 6.5 significant strikes per minute. That is an insane amount of damage that he absorbs every single minute of the fight. But the strikes he has absorbed were from Ricardo Lamas, Andre Fili. This kid is on a different level, Flash. So much like the Amanda Nunes fight when I had a little under 10 dimes on her, I think that this kid is priced wrong. I don't normally give out minus 300 favorites on this show. I've only done it one time before, but I think he should be more like minus 550, like 1.2. And you can get him at 1.33 right now. This is a spot where Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon, I should say, I might have 4 or 5 dimes on this kid. So give me Zabit Magomedsharipov all the way big.
Well, if you fancy him that much and you're having 3 or 4 dimes, why don't you go and just have a full $5 on him?
1,000, 4 or 5,000.
There she is. There's the big one. There's the big one. 8 monkeys. Okay. I love the links, by the way. Skinny frame. That means I've got to go over to Dave.
This guy's just been born to fight. Zabit trained at the Wushu fighting school, Payat Store on Sveta, and he would train 3 times a day in martial arts. He was at a school where they would be training morning, afternoon, and night in martial arts. He did this for 11 years before he's making his MMA debut. So before he even entered an octagon or a ring to fight in martial arts, he was doing it 3 times a day. And I'm not surprised when Jay says he leaves himself open, he takes reckless chances because he's so confident in every area of fighting. Zabit doesn't care. Take me down, strike with me. He doesn't care. Now, I do have to give credit to Kattar. He's fought some serious dudes. But to keep this one short and simple, I feel like Zabit is a future champion, even if he loses. This is a guy that was born to fight. He's not going anywhere soon. We've got a future champion on our hands, in our opinion. If he can get the experience and maybe up his... I hate to say it because he has been fighting since 10 years old, but his fight IQ has been and will need to become better the further he gets up in the rankings. He's not going to be able to do these... put himself in these reckless situations against guys like Max Holloway, etc. But for me, I'm not going to pay up on this price. So it's a fight go the distance, which I gave out. I gave that out on SBR a couple of weeks ago. There was no odds at the time. I'm not sure what the odds are now. Calvin Kattar, he goes the distance. His teammate Karl Bochnicker's, he doesn't have the blueprint how to beat Zabit, but he has the blueprint on how to stick around and hang around with Zabit. I think we'll see pressure. Enough pressure from Calvin to keep him in the fight for 15 minutes, but I think it will be a unanimous decision in favor of Zabit.
Okay,
fight goes the distance is minus 126.
I love that price. I think that's great.
Okay, co-main event then, Dave. Hardy and Volkov, another local.
This is a short notice fight for Greg Hardy, who just We had him in our punching parley a couple of weeks ago, and the guy asked for an inhaler whilst he was sat down at the end of the round. Lost himself the fight due to this by a no contest. Not lost, but it was a no contest because he used an inhaler. It's against the rules. That's concerning. But he's fighting Volkov, and Volkov does not like heavy hitters. Derek Lewis got inside the pocket. He's great striking at range, but I think if Greg Hardy can storm this guy and come out fast, quick, strong, use his athleticism, he could knock this guy out and put himself in the rankings, in the run-ins for a title shot. Because Volkov taking this fight, me and Jay spoke about this previous, is quite an insane fight to take. Volkov has more losses than Greg Hardy has actual fights. To put things into perspective, the experience is huge. If Volkov could maybe get this to the floor, he probably would have the advantage, but Greg Hardy is a former linebacker, is a former NFL player, is huge. So it's not that he has years of MMA experience in takedown defense, etc., but he does have that defense from NFL, and he has that power. So, boy, I think I have to take the underdog here. I have to take the price. I've already put it in at plus 220, 3.20 on the decimal, half a unit on Greg Hardy for me, because I do not trust Volkov's chin after watching Derek Lewis pop him in a fight. He had to survive another half a minute and he would have won the fight. He gets knocked out. Can't trust a guy like that. If he can be knocked out in the first round by Derek Lewis, who is a slow, plodding striker, he can be knocked out by Greg Hardy, who I believe has probably more power than Derek Lewis. Let's not kid around. The dude's a freak. I think he can drop Volkov in the first round.
Jace, any dimes?
Very interesting.
Any dimes going on Hardy?
Well, very interesting fight to me, okay? Volkov is the first legitimate top-tier guy that Greg Hardy's going to see. Volkov is a big guy, 6'7", very strong kickboxing game for someone that is as big as he is. He's an elite heavyweight, and it seems crazy to say that right now, but the division is so weak until these young prospects start coming down the pipe and they actually pan out. He's one of the 6 or 7 best heavyweights right now, I think, in the world, right? Now, he's only fought twice in the UFC. He beats a former champion in Fabricio Verdum, right? And he loses the fight to Derek Lewis, but technically he lost the fight, right? He beat the shit out of Derek Lewis up and down the cage for 14 minutes and 45 seconds in a 15-minute fight, right? In the final 15 seconds, he gets caught with the right hand, and Lewis escapes with a shocking victory. Everything that we have seen from this kid is impressive. His opponent, Hardy, who we just saw 2 weeks ago in the octagon, a former professional football player, like Dave said, in the NFL. He was a world-class defensive lineman at what he did, right? Unfortunately, the kid's a lunatic. He was kicked out of the league for behavioral issues. He's a raw fighter, Flash. He still doesn't know what he's doing in there technically. The problem is he has devastating, freakish, dinosaur strength power, right? So do we see Volkov pick this kid apart, or do we see Greg Hardy catch Volkov the way that Lewis did and get the win? I mean, you know, Hardy stuck to the game plan in his last fight, which I was surprised. He stayed behind his jab. He was as technical as we have seen him so far in the octagon. If he stays super disciplined here, I think he loses the fight. If he comes out slightly less patient and he really goes for the knockout, then I think he's live to get it. The question is, which Hardy do we see? I'm going to take a chance that the Hardy we see is the reckless Hardy that just goes in there and looks to put this guy down. And I got it at 3.4. So at plus 240, I think that it's worth taking the shot Saturday afternoon on Greg Hardy. So give me Hardy.
Yeah, seems like it's one of those understated but exciting cards, and we may well see a few of these characters again. Listen, lads, as always, I thank you very much for your company. Thank you very much for your expertise. And thank you very much for speeding it up, because I'm out of here. See you soon.
You got it, brother.
That's UFC 163 in Moscow wrapped up. I'm off. Premier League punters tomorrow. You'll see a new guest. I won't be here. See you later.